Welcome to this video about the European Union Water Operators Partnership, or EU-WOP programme, and how to apply to its second phase. This video will first introduce water operator partnerships and the EU-WOP programme, then go on to help you understand the current call for proposals and how to apply. Please note that this video has been timestamped to allow you to orient yourself. If you wish to save time, you can now jump directly to the section you require guidance on. To begin, let's go through the heart of our programme. What are WOPs? At the heart of our EU-WOP information video is the concept of the Water Operator Partnership, or WOP. The WOP is all about water and sanitation providers supporting each other to improve and ultimately provide water and sanitation services sustainably for all. WOPs are peer partnerships. On one hand, there is an operator with strong capacity with a willingness to share, and on the other hand, an operator that is embarking on a journey of improvement and looking for support and guidance via trusted mentorship. Partners in a WOP conduct similar work, albeit in different contexts. Through WOPs, these peer professionals are able to give eye-level peer support on the technical, managerial, and financial aspects of running a utility. Critically, WOPs focus on the strengthening utilities' capacity and performance for the long term. They do not fund major equipment and infrastructure, but rather support the key soft skills that ensure these investments are effective and sustainable. It is key to note also that this is done entirely in solidarity, as these WOPs are not for profit. For some context, the EU-WOP programme aims to address growing water and sanitation access challenges around the world by focusing on the service providers that are on the front lines of service delivery. It takes advantage of the fact that operators are often able to overcome their challenges by taking inspiration and learning and supporting from their peers. The European Union is committed to funding these partnerships, and WOPA has an alliance of networks that are capable and keen to support one another. And we see all of this coming together in the EU-WOP programme. Our objectives. The EU-WOP programme launched its first phase in 2020 with the generous support of the European Union. We have overall objectives of strengthening the capacity and operational performance of water and sanitation operators. Through this, facilitating the flows of needed investments towards partner utilities and, as a result, achieving SDG 6. In 2020, the first phase was launched. We initiated a call for proposals from which we identified 22 partnerships. These partnerships have been running for the past 3 years, supporting utilities across Latin America and the Caribbean to Asia Pacific and Africa. They include both North-South partnerships, which includes peer utilities from developed and lesser developed regions, and also South-South partnerships, with partners in the same regions. All 22 of the EU-WOP partnerships were also connected throughout common programme-wide knowledge management initiatives, where the projects could share between them. These partnerships are all concluding in 2025, and WOPA is now conducting a final assessment of their many outcomes. You can also see the locations of both mentors and mentees visualized on the map. To explore this further, I highly encourage you to visit our website. Phase 2. We are delighted that the European Union has entrusted us after strong results from the last phase to scale up and build on these promising outcomes in a new phase of the programme. WOPA has secured €14 million to fund 30 more WOPs. This will include an extension of the prior partnerships and a suite of new WOPs which will be implemented over a period of 4 years, from 2026 until 2030. The call for partnership proposals for the EU-WOP Phase 2 is now open. For the rest of the information presentation, we will be going over the application portion of the call of proposals, and throughout the video you will find key links to various key sites. What are we looking for in the call for proposals? In a nutshell, we're looking for partnership proposals. This is not a call for individuals to apply. Instead, we're asking for a consortium of partners to come together and apply as a water operators partnership. These WOPs can either be water-focused operator partnerships, so-called WOPs, or sanitation-focused, also known as SWOPs. They need to be co-developed by the proposed partners to respond to the programme objectives. To apply, each proposed WOP must involve at least 2 partners, a resident and supporting partner. But the composition of the partnership can vary, with the choice to optionally include additional partners. Partners must abide by WOPA's Code of Conduct, which can be found on our website, and they must be members of the WOPA Alliance, which is free to do. More details of this can be found on our website under the Engage tab. The grant amount available is between $200,000 and $400,000. Any proposed projects must have a fundable duration of 48 months. All proposed WOPs must also include a primary lever, which will be explained further down the video. There are 2 windows for the application. In this phase, an expanding WOP is building on a pre-existing WOP that was established in EU-WOP Phase 1, taking place in the same country and involving most of, if not all, the same partners, aiming to build on and consolidate the results from its first phase. The second window is for emerging WOPs. This is for those looking to initiate a new distinct element of a water operator partnership. These are initiatives that have not been previously funded under the EU-WOP programme. Distribution of the funding for these windows is expected to be approximately equally split. Deadlines for each window is different, with expanding WOP proposals to be submitted and selected first. Timeline. There are 2 stages to the application. The deadlines for Stage 1 are as follows. Expanding WOPs are to submit their proposal by the 26th of September of this year. This is a shorter deadline as they're already established as partners, with emerging WOPs to submit their proposals by the 7th of November of this year. Further information about deadlines will be shared after this stage of the application process has been completed. Eligible themes and improvement areas. There are a wide range of eligible themes within this call. On the right, there is a short list of improvement areas addressed in EU-WOP Phase 1, but the core focus remains on what is important and demanded from the resident partner in its local service area. In Phase 1, we had partnerships addressing things like climate change mitigation, pollution prevention, sanitation service workers, water quality, and low-income customer services. We recommend visiting the WOP website to find out what projects have been about in the past and also what they can be about in the future. As utilities contribute to all the targets of SDG 6, the range of possible thematic areas is quite wide. The levers are a new element being introduced in the second phase of the EU-WOP programme. They reflect the strategic priorities of the European Union. There are 3 different levers: digitalisation, financial linking, and human rights. Levers are meant to leverage the value of the WOP, but not meant to be the main focus. There are elements to be integrated throughout the partnership process to make it stronger and more strategic, while also addressing the primary needs of the resident partner. All WOPs will need to select one core lever that they'll be addressing for the purpose of evaluation. Proposed WOPs might integrate several levers, as any well-designed program will address them naturally. However, the proposals will be addressed on one chosen lever. To address a lever, partners need to plan to engage in joint diagnosis, strategy development process, and/or joint implementation within the planned WOP. You'll be able to find further information on this within the Call for Proposals document. Matchmaking Support. Applications to the EU-WOP programme must come from a proposed partners consortium. No organisation can apply independently. However, as organisations might need support to form partnerships, WOP is offering what we call the Opportunity Hub, which is a tool allowing you to express your interest in finding a partner and to look for others who are offering services or have needs that you can address. More on this can be found in the portal. Eligible countries. The only eligible resident partner countries for the programme are those where European Union delegations have actively endorsed the programme. On the screen you can see the list of countries who are eligible to be resident partners. Please note that supporting and additional partners have a separate, wider eligibility list, also available in the Call for Proposals document. Funds available for the project is also roughly predefined for the different regions. There will be more projects selected from the African region, followed by Asia and the Pacific, and then Latin America and the Caribbean. This is based on the source of funding for the programme itself. Partnership setup. A variety of partnership constellations are possible under this call. However, the water operators partnership must involve at least one resident and one supporting partner. A resident partner, referred to in the previous phase as a beneficiary partner, is a mentee absorbing mentorship via an improvement process that this WOP is focused on. The ownership and drive of that partner is essential. They must be a government body or publicly owned and based in one of the eligible resident partner country lists. You may have up to 5 of these parties. The other mandatory partner is a supporting partner. There must be at least 1, but can be up to 3. These are what we view as mentors, including any co-mentors joining a consortium to develop further experience in mentorship and look to provide support or to learn from other mentors. To receive funds under the grant, these partners must also either be government bodies or publicly owned and be from a European Union country or from one of the eligible OECD DAC countries. Additional partners are optional. They engage in the partnership as supporting or complementary roles, perhaps within finance or bringing expertise regarding one of the levers. These may be NGOs, universities, financiers, or working closely with the local community. All partners engaging in the WOP must do so on a not-for-profit solidarity basis and be JWOPA members. WOP Activities. There are a range of activities that are eligible under the EU-WOP programme. As WOPs are primarily peer-to-peer partnerships, the WOP's main activities should involve the peer utilities in joint assessment, learning and knowledge exchange, co-creation and joint development of tools. Within this call, there is also a strong emphasis on coordination. Although this has always been part of our work, in this phase we're looking to make coordination more transparent. There will be visibility given to the efforts of all partners, ensuring they are all involved in monitoring and meeting regularly, and that this is truly a joint-owned initiative. Local level advocacy and program-wide knowledge sharing are also small but required components of all WOP proposals in Phase 2. For more information, please read the Call for Proposals. These are themes which we are focusing on much more heavily in this call, linking what is going on at the local level for the resident partner. Activities which are not peer-to-peer but which provide additional value to the partnership are also deemed as valid WOP activities as long as they still serve the WOP in one way or another. Budget and eligible expenses. We are calling for grants between $200,000 and $400,000 which is slightly lower than Phase 1 but with the hope of being able to engage with a wider range of partners. We do expect counterpart contributions alongside these maximum grants to help support the WOP. The main eligible expenses in WOPs are travel and staff time as described in the table on the screen and within the call document. Equipment for the WOP may also possibly be expensed, however it has to be very instrumental for the partnership itself of the learning and improvements that are expected. For further information on the budget, we highly encourage you to read the Call for Proposals document. Within the application, you will also find a budget template for planning. As mentioned previously, all participation is not for profit and must be done on a solidarity basis. What is new in EU-WOP Phase 2? Key changes. Whilst many elements remain the same, or like the first phase of the EU-WOP programme, we have introduced some key changes. We hope you recognise and appreciate the change in terminology. You may have noticed the change from beneficiary partner to resident partner. Mentors are no longer called lead, but now supporting partners. This is critical to emphasise the expectation of engagement and leadership from the resident partner as well as to encourage equality, co-ownership and true partnership. Additionally, in this phase, letters of intent are required from all resident and supporting partners applying in the first stage of the application process. You'll be able to find a letter of intent template in the application portal, and we recommend you have a look at that early on to ensure that you receive those in time for submission before the deadline. The new phase also includes a funded diagnostic mission for emerging WOP window applicants proceeding to Stage 2. This is to strengthen the WOP proposal based on a ground truthing of utility realities and a first encounter between the partners. More on this will be explained if your application is shortlisted after the first stage. All applications are submitted online in the application portal. We do highly recommend that you go through the call document carefully and review all tabs in the portal before planning your WOP. You can also download the application form in PDF format to work together with your partners in its preparation beforehand. Although the application must be submitted by a single individual, the application must represent the consortium of partners working together in the proposed WOP. Regarding languages, the application portal has the option for automated translation to and from French and Spanish to facilitate proposals from a wider set of potential participants. However, WOP will only be evaluating the proposals in English and does not bear the responsibility of translation by the application portal. Please be sure to keep this in mind when submitting your application. Selection criteria. A few insights on selection criteria we'd like to highlight. There is a strong emphasis on the ownership and leadership of all operating partners, specifically the resident partner. WOPs have always been about sustainability, so we're not thinking of these as small projects, but instead looking to anchor these projects as long-term solutions, considering existing realities that can stay there and continue their legacy beyond the partnership and visits. We're looking for coherence. Do not cherry-pick your activities, but instead look at how they come together for a higher level result. In the approaches, we would like you to take a more appreciative approach, co-create and avoid having one individual making all the decisions. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work. There is also an emphasis on building the WOP practitioner community. Engage new partners in the WOP and new members in WOPing. All selection criteria are laid out in the application. Whilst there are a lot of criteria, they have been carefully considered to encourage the best possible application from you and your consortium, so please do keep all of them in mind. Tips for designing and applying. Please start early and remember, we want you to do it together. We recommend you build on existing practices and knowledge. For example, if there are benchmarking exercises that have already gone on recently within the utility, build on what's there. Don't start from scratch and be sure to be curious about what's already happening. We highly recommend you seek early engagement and endorsement from management within the utilities. We also encourage you to reach out to the European Union delegations in the proposed resident partner country to explore synergies that could strengthen the proposal and raise their awareness about your intentions. Important to note, in this application, please respond to not only the questions that are asked, but also the selection criteria that are listed beside the question. The selection criteria can be now found in the call for proposals and should help orient you as you design the proposal. Alongside all of this, we also highly recommend and would love to welcome you to the 6th Global WOPs Congress in Bonn this October. This of course does not weigh into your evaluation, however there will be an opportunity provided for you to attend the design workshop session which may be helpful in planning and submitting your proposal. For further information, here are some resources on the screen. Please be sure to keep an eye out on our portal, social media and website. For further questions, please direct them to info@jwopa.org. Thank you so much for listening in on this informational video and we're excited to see the applications that come through. Good luck to all.